The Spencer Schrader injury is killing us in fantasy football, but the reality is it's actually well beyond him as well. There's a couple other injured kickers right now. Brandon Aubrey is struggling. We're going through some changes at the kicker position in fantasy football, and I'm giving you the top 12 rankings for week 6. And as many of you know, I'm one of the only fantasy YouTubers who covers kickers on a weekly basis. So go down there, drop a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel to show your support. Now, get into our first tier of kickers here. I've got Chase McLaughlin at number 1. This guy has been freaking awesome this year, and a lot of it obviously has to do with the offense that he's on, right? Chase McLaughlin being a part of this Tampa Bay offense right here, you just know that this offense is going to get you at least into range, and they have kicked 15 field goals this year and 12 extra points. Now, McLaughlin has missed a couple kicks. He's missed 1 extra point, he's missed 3 field goals, so he has not been exactly perfect yet, but he has hit a Tampa Bay record this year, 65-yard long field goal, and he has been a very dominant kicker in fantasy football for the majority of the season, even with some misses on top of that. So I think that against the San Francisco 49ers in this week's matchup, I think it's really a good matchup to take advantage of because Baker's playing at an MVP level right now. So even if they don't have the best game, he will continue to get a lot of opportunities at field goal this week. And at number 2, Chris Boswell coming off the bye week playing the Cleveland Browns. I love divisional matchups for kickers. They are fantastic for kickers in fantasy football. Now, I will also say this. Chris Boswell and the Pittsburgh Steelers, their offense is very much a weekly wild card. So Chris Boswell right now actually is not doing that particularly well in fantasy football right now. He's got 8.8 fantasy points per game through the first 4 games. And the last 2, he had 3 points versus New England, and he had 6 points versus the Minnesota Vikings. I think we start to see a better Chris Boswell for fantasy football this week. And honestly, he may be on waivers because he was just on a bye week. You might want to look into this one right here. And at number 3 to round out the tier, I've got Eddie Pinheiro of the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Tampa Bay Bucks this week. I think this matchup is sweet. Look, Tampa Bay's defense is, I keep saying this, Baker is winning in spite of that defense. Like, he has played so well, lights out football this year, and he's winning not because the Tampa defense is good, he's winning in spite of them. So I think that Eddie Pinheiro, when you factor in the San Francisco offense, coming off a mini bye week basically, and whether it's Brock Purdy, whether it's Mac Jones, they will move the ball because Mac Jones has proven time and time again to be a really good quarterback in this league who could get them down there for opportunities. And Eddie Pinheiro has basically been perfect for this team outside of 1 extra point. Eddie Pinheiro is averaging 11.5 fantasy points per game. That's fantastic. I mean, to put it into context, that's like running back 2, wide receiver 2 numbers right there. Eddie Pinheiro has been awesome. So I would say that Eddie Pinheiro is easily inside my top 3 in that same matchup with Tampa because I love the opportunity. Now, dropping down to our next tier, I've got Michael Badgley of the Indianapolis Colts taking over for Spencer Schrader against the Arizona Cardinals this week. Now, obviously, Spencer Schrader had been doing so well. It's really disappointing to see him go down with a knee injury, and he's done. Like, it's not a question, is he going to come back? It's over for his season. So, unfortunate for him, but Michael Badgley, the only reason he's not in tier 1 is because I don't know what he's going to look like. It's been several years since we've actually seen Michael Badgley kick a football in the NFL, so it's going to be hard to know exactly what to expect. That's the reason he's down in tier 2, because in the offense that he's on, I want an option. I've already picked up Michael Badgley in several of my leagues this week alone. Now, I think you should do the same, and I do think he will be available on a lot of waivers this week, because a lot of people just don't know who the next kicker is in Indy. Well, I'm telling you right now, this is a kicker that you want right here, and he's taking on the Cardinals defense. That's a great matchup to take advantage of when you're a fantasy kicker. And Cam Little's at 5. He's actually over Brandon Aubrey at 6. Now, Cam Little, to start with him versus the Seattle Seahawks, I think that this offense is definitely not fraudulent. This offense is for real. I think the team, there's still maybe a fraudulent element to it. Maybe. But they are definitely handing a lot of good teams fits. And they're taking on the Seattle Seahawks this week in Jacksonville. So I do think there's a lot of opportunity here. Because listen, Seattle's defense is going to hold them to field goals. That is the reason I want Cam Little in this game, because Cam Little is going to be in position a lot to be able to kick a lot of 50-yard field goals this week, because Jacksonville will stall out on their drives this week. It will happen. So I do really want an opportunity here with Cam Little, who has missed 2 field goals this year. But again, we all know how long the leg is with this guy in fantasy football. And I think that against Seattle, that's just a matchup I want to take advantage of, because they will hold them to field goal opportunities. And then when it comes to Brandon Aubrey, I mean, again, you have to face the facts a little bit here. He has not been the best fantasy kicker the past couple of weeks. And the reason why, and I always say this, is because when your offense is running very efficient and you're making red zone trips a frequent thing and you're always getting in the end zone, like the Cowboys are doing this year, your kicker's upside is not going to be as great. So he is at 8 points in week 3, 8 points in week 4, and 7 points in week 5. So this upside here is not normally what we get from Brandon Aubrey. And he has kicked 4 field goals since week 3 and 10 extra point attempts since week 3. So, it's just not been as fruitful for Brandon Aubrey. And I do think against the Panthers, we are at risk of that again, because they're going to have their way with the Panthers defense here. So that's my problem. I love Brandon Aubrey, the kicker, but I just don't think his upside is the same as it always usually is right now, because Dallas's offense, and credit to Dak Prescott, they're freaking crushing it right now. But I will tell you this, again, we've went through a couple of kickers here, like Chris Boswell, Michael Badgley, even Eddie Pinheiro, who I guarantee you are on a lot of people waiver wires right now. So you need to utilize our automatic waiver wire tool to go pick up these kickers before anybody else does. And what we always see is a mad dash to the waiver wire after these initial priority waiver claims hit to go grab the rest of the best free agents. Our process has automated that for you. You get to sleep through the night. You don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to fight all those other yahoos trying to get the same players, and you can sleep through the night and still beat them to the waiver wire. And it's pissed off a lot of people. We've already heard a lot of great testimonials. So you need to take advantage of that opportunity as well, because you don't want to end the season looking like a guy like this.
This is Ted. Look at him. Ted desperately needs to pick up a new running back, or his fantasy team is toast. For the 3rd year in a row. And losing his season again means one thing.
Oh, no.
Don't be Ted. Use Fantasy Football Roundup to automate your waiver pickups and take a breather this season.
Hey, you got 7 more laps.
Now, dropping down to our next tier, I've got Jake Bates at number 7 for the Detroit Lions, and he's going to Kansas City on Sunday night to take on the Chiefs. And I think this matchup is going to be super fun to watch, number 1. And Jake Bates, the reality with him in an even more extreme sense than it was with Brandon Aubrey, he's on just an extraordinarily efficient offense this year, that when you actually look at Jake Bates, he's kicked 8 field goals and 22 extra point attempts. They have been just dominant at getting the ball in the end zone. That is basically 3 more extra point attempts per game than field goal attempts. So it's just going to be hard for him to maximize that, especially when he has missed 2 field goals as well. So I think that the Chiefs defense will come up with a couple stops in this game, and that's why I like Bates in this matchup, because I think they will come up with some stops, and he will have to kick more field goals than he has in previous weeks. So I think Bates is a good play this week. And at number 8, I've got Cam Dicker at the Miami Dolphins this week. It's been a while since we've seen Cam Dicker in these rankings, and realistically, he's had no business being in these rankings. He's the kicker number 19 on the season right now. He's had 9 field goal attempts and 9 extra point opportunities, 8 fantasy points per game. Not bad numbers, but just not very good. And his ceiling this year has been 12 points. Now, this week, I think we're in this very unique position with him, where their offense is so weakened by lots of injuries. They're missing all their running backs, basically. Lots of their offensive line is in shambles, but their passing game, I still trust a lot to be able to deliver against the Miami Dolphins' horrendous defense. And I do think that they will get down there plenty, but maybe stall out because of their lack of running game or lack of offensive line protection for Justin Fields. and to where he has to kick like 2 or 3 field goals in this game. So they're going to have no problem moving the ball against the Miami Dolphins defense. It's always going to be a matter of if they're able to get a stop here, and I think that this could be a very opportunistic week for Cam Dicker. Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks is at number 9, and he's going to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. Now, Jason Myers, my biggest problem with him this entire year, and I've been very vocal about it, is that he misses kicks. The guy has missed 3 field goals this year, and that's not a good thing because he has left a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to his fantasy upside. He's the kicker number 6 right now in fantasy, 10.6 fantasy points per game, so he's been good, but he's left meat on the bone, and that's frustrating because their offense is really good right now. So they go to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. Again, this is a matchup I want pieces in because I do think that Jacksonville's defense has also proven to be good enough to get stops as well, but Seattle's offense at the same time, they're going to be able to get down there and get himself into opportunities. So I do want Jason Myers, but these misses, man, they're creating a lot of problems for me personally. And Matt Gay inside the top 10 to round out this tier versus the Chicago Bears. And I think Matt Gay on Monday night, listen, I talked about this last week, which was that Matt Gay, if you looked at the games without Jaden Daniels, they kicked a lot of field goals. But if you looked at the games with Jaden so far, it wasn't that great. So Matt Gay has had 3 misses at field goal this year, but he's basically kicked the same amount of field goals as he has extra points. So last week, Jaden Daniels' first game back, 9 points. That's a pretty serviceable number right there. And taking on Chicago out of the bye week, I do think is a good opportunity for him. So I would like Matt Gay. I don't love him because of, again, Jaden Daniels becoming more efficient in the red zone this year. I don't love the opportunity, but I do think that against Chicago's defense off a bye week, there's a lot of opportunity here to do really well. Now, dropping down to our last tier, I've got Matt Prater at 12 and Parker Romo at 11, and they're both playing each other in Atlanta in one of these doubleheader freaking Monday night games. I hate these doubleheader games. Nobody asks for them that I know. It's so annoying, but I do think that both kickers are good in this matchup right here. I mean, Parker Romo, listen, this guy has had no floor whatsoever. And I'm about to show you, like, Parker Romo, his first 3 weeks as a Falcons kicker have been 18 points in week 2, 0 points in week 3, and 10 points in his 3rd week as their kicker. Like, this is a guy who has literally no floor whatsoever, so he's either going to do really well this week or he's going to get you nothing. Now, against the Bills and that defense that's beatable, I want an opportunity here, and considering they're coming off a bye week, I want to believe that they've done some game planning to, be good enough in this game. And then with Matt Prater's top 10 kicker this year because the guy has been on the Bills offense, and that's just the reality, is that he has a lot of opportunities to continue to do very well in this offense. And I do think that Atlanta's defense is not really one of those that I'm very scared of. I do think there's going to be lots of scoring opportunities in this matchup versus Atlanta. I want Matt Prater inside the top 12 this week. So let me know what you think of the kicker rankings in the comments below. And if you want to see this week's top 30 running back rankings, click on this video right here.